March 16, 2022, exactly 2 years from my personal doomsday when they said the gyms have to shut down in New York. All businesses had to shut down, non-essential businesses, which don't get me fucking started on what a non-essential business is because there's no such thing. So everybody had to close down. And I was like, well, shit, now what? Oh, it's only going to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I'm like, bullshit, but all right, let's see if it's just going to be 2 weeks. I headed out. I dipped out. I went to Florida because I figured what I'm going to do is sit around in New York and do nothing, right? So I'm down in Florida. 2 weeks goes by. We're going to extend it. It's going to be another 2 weeks or it's going to be another month. And I'm like, well, fuck. Well, I got to pay April's rent. April's coming up. Landlord says, hey, where's the money? What do you mean, where's the money? I mean, what money am I going to give you? I'm not allowed to work. The government's saying I'm not allowed to work. I'm not allowed to occupy my store. How can I pay you for a store that I'm not able to use? Oh, well, it's unconditional in the lease. No matter what, you got to pay a lease. I'm like, yeah, but given that I'm allowed to use the business, the government's not allowing me to use the business. So if I'm not allowed to use the business, how can I generate money to pay for rent when I don't have any money coming in? Like, that doesn't make any sense. May comes around. Where's the rent? Again, where am I going to get the money from? I spent all my life savings and everything I ever worked for to get to this point where I can open up my own gym. I just started. My overhead is way higher than it's ever been before. I'm making just enough money in the beginning, working my ass off from morning to night with no staff just to be able to pay for everything, just to have the gym, let alone make $1, okay? And now that I'm not working and I'm not able to work, how can I pay you the money? So unfortunately, my landlord was unreasonable. And the next month said, hey, if you don't pay us the money, we're going to evict you. And I'm like, again, I just got here. I opened up 2 minutes before a fucking global pandemic comes across the world to our country and particularly New York and said, hey, we got to shut down. Like, we didn't get any real government funding and help off of that. So, like, how am I supposed to pay you when I don't have any money coming in? So I was in an incredibly stressful situation. I had no idea what was going to happen, what I was going to do. I went from the highest of highs to, like, finally getting to that point, you know, of coaching from 2012 to, 2020. It took me 8 years of working as much as I can and all the sacrifice and everything I did to get to the point where I get to open up my own gym. And 2 months later, I had to close it. And then little did I know it was going to be 5.5 months that I had to be closed down. So I went from the highest to highest to the lowest to lows, and that was by far the scariest fucking point that I've ever been at, career-wise, financially-wise, because I rolled the dice, and then they said, oh, you're not allowed to roll the dice anymore. It's like, but I rolled the dice already. Like, now what? My money was all frozen up, and, everything that I put into having the gym, was on the line, and I wasn't even allowed to work. So that was a really crazy time. My least favorite person in the whole world, Cuomo, told me that, and told everybody, you're not allowed to work. We'll put you into 4 phases. Gym was in phase 4. And then as we were getting through the phases, they took the gyms out of phase 4, which is insane because there was no phase 5. And basically said, we'll let you know, until the New York Fitness Coalition came together and said, we're going to sue you because you can't be doing this. And a week after, he was like, it's too dangerous. It's going to spread infection, blah, blah, blah. Cuomo got sued, and then, okay, fine, you guys can open. You can open up in 2 weeks. And it's like, oh, it's so dangerous, right? Now you're just going to let us open. Regardless, right? We opened up September 1st, which was 5.5 months after the initial, March 16th lockdown. And when we came back to the gym, group-wise, I had to start all over again. We had about 40 members, and about 6 people came back. Because people watch the news and the news says, don't see anybody, don't be around anybody, wear a mask, social distance, blah, 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 fear tactics. So nobody came back to the gym out of the main group that I had, barely anybody, I should say. And then I had to rebuild the whole business all over again. But as horrible as that whole situation was, put me in a hole with the landlord, put me in a great amount of stress and crazy amount of anxiety because I thought I was going to lose the gym before I even had it. I was sitting around honestly depressed and fucking sad because I was coming to the realization of like, holy shit, I might actually lose my business and all the money that I spent to get to this point, which was terrifying to me. I was super unhealthy and I was taking it out on myself, drinking, smoking, eating, put on 35 pounds. It was just in a rut the whole time. But flash forward to today, fucking breathe. It was, although that was the scariest thing that I've ever been through, business wise, financially wise, it was the worst and greatest moment for me at the same time, which is like really, really crazy and weird to say, but the worst because of everything that I just mentioned, but the greatest because when I came back, I said, okay, like I need to figure out a way to, not only catch up, but grow from here. Reached out to one of my students, Coach Steve, and said, hey, Steve, I want to get you to start training some people at the gym. So I reached out to him and started training him how to coach and teach all the programs. And that worked out. We built up his schedule. We had Coach Ricky as well. His schedule was pretty full. Then one of my students, Jared, said Jared wanted to help out. He started helping out, and I saw a really good potential for him to be a coach. So then Coach Jared joined the team. After Coach Jared joined the team, then Coach Jeremiah came back around, after the first time we did some training together. So he jumped back onto the team, and we filled him up. And then after that, okay, now what? So now, okay, met Coach Mario at the gym. So Coach Mario joined the team. Then had another coach join the team. Don't want to mention, but, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. He blew his opportunity, so I fired him. And then another person came around, Coach Jeff, so the team's been growing. Everything's been great. Obviously it's a super hard hustle. I'm here working my ass off. I'm here from morning to night all the time, and just because I'm the boss, or just because I run the ship doesn't mean that I have it the easiest. I probably have it the hardest out of everybody because I have to make sure that all of my stuff is taken care of, the gym stuff is taken care of, and the coach is doing what they're supposed to be doing on top of running everything on top of it. It's very, very hard work, but it's very fulfilling and very gratifying because this is what I love to do and I know what I signed up for. But moral of the story is that when shit gets dark and when shit gets really tough, you have to be able to keep the vision and look past that and say, like, all right, well, this really sucks right now. No matter how dark or grim or scary it might be, just stay focused on, okay, how can I make this better? How can I improve? Or, hey, I can't get that time back. That it was just, wasted time or bad time. Like, what can I do to bounce back from there? Because if I would have just held my head down and just been like defeated by it, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be in the gym right now, and I wouldn't have everything that I have now and all the people I'm able to help and meet and build the team and build a community. So it's super important to stay headstrong and stay focused. And it's hard to say stay positive when everything's crashing down around you, but you got to find a way to say, okay, I got to make this work. I'll do anything I got to do to make it work, and just whether it's new ideas or new thoughts or building up a team or networking or anything. I mean, completely changing the plan if you have to. No matter what, you always got to make it work. You always got to stay positive. You always got to stay hopeful and make sure you work your ass off to get it. Because if you're just positive and you're not putting anything in, you're not going to get anything out of it. So 2 years later, the gym is doing better than it's ever been. And actually, if it hasn't been for the lockdown and all those super hard times that I went through, I don't think I ever would have reached this point, because that really lit a fire under my ass to be like, you have to step it up and you have to reach the next level. Before I even reached the first level, I was already looking at, okay, I gotta get to level 7, level 8. And I'm like, I didn't even reach the first level, but it fucking motivated me to say, okay, let's get it going, So at the same time, as it was the worst thing that's ever happened for the business, it's also the best thing because it made me evolve. It made me change my thinking and my plan and build up the team members and just go bigger. And thankfully, it's worked out so far. And expanding even more, training a new manager now, training another coach now, and the gym's been getting more busy. So thankfully, everything's been going great. So 2 years later, just a quick reflection. I am super proud of myself because I did work my fucking ass off to get here. And I'm not going anywhere. So Six Sluggers Boxing, we're staying on the map. Now, at first, I was, I'm on the map. I'm staying on the map. And I'll be here. And we'll be here helping everybody, training with everybody, and just doing what we love to do. So that's it. So if you listen through this whole rant, speech, whatever you want to call it, it's really important to stay positive, work toward your goals. Don't let anything stop you, not even a global pandemic. Work through it, figure out a plan, change your plan if you have to, but make it happen. That's the biggest thing. Just make it happen. So 2022, March 16th, Six Sluggers Boxing, we're still here. Come see us. 460 Jericho Turnpike, Mineola. Boom.